All right, we are into our first match of the night. Again, welcome everybody. House Party 5v5 Season Championship has kicked off, and we are getting started. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Co-casting with me is my good friend Donkey's Puncher.
What up, sir?
Very, very glad to have you here. Get things started with our bands. Put the team logos up there so we can see who all is playing as well. Y'all stand by and bear with us just a second. We've got a lot going on today. Got 4 different teams starting within the same time frame, so a little bit of an organizational feel going on. And that should do it. All right, there we go. Sound of Light on the blue side, Venom on the red side. Aurelia and Narcion getting banned out for Sound of Light. And Swain, Kalista, and Vi seeing bans on Team Venom. So, interesting bans coming out. Of course, Kalista going to be a big target in the league. Lots of 80 carries in the league, and lots of them playing Kalista very well. Not surprised to see the Vi ban either. Vi's still very strong. Didn't get hit hard like Jarvan did either. And
yeah, Vi, Jarvan, and Lee are sort of seen as like the premier junglers right now. We're seeing the Olaf pick, but it'd be interesting to see. I guess this is going to be a Maokai jungle, which you don't really see that often. Possibly. Well, with the Jax picked up, it sort of signals that, but it could be something interesting. Could be Jax jungle, I guess. Either one, really, I guess, because neither are sort of popular in the meta. But interesting picks so far.
Yeah, certainly a possibility for either one to go, especially after swaps come through. Team composition-wise, you know, I'm really feeling the bottom lane for Venom on the red side. Zark's got a pretty good competency when it comes to Graves and just the burst that you can get from that champion, along with the crowd control lockup from Thresh. Of course, you know, okay, Penguins went for the Morgana. Tanball's going to be joining Sound of Light on the 80 carry role, so looks like he's going to be taking the Jinx in there as well. So that should be a pretty interesting matchup.
Yeah, definitely. The thing about Thresh is that the skill shots are not the easiest to land. Hooks are difficult to land if you're being pushed in, and Jinx does a really, really good job of pushing you in. On top of the fact that with Morgana, it's going to be super hard for this Thresh to be able to make things happen, just because you know, Morgana support just does a really good job of countering it. So it's going to be interesting. I think Venom's going to have their work cut out for them in the bot lane. But as we've seen before, anything is possible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Those black shields are going to come through huge for Sound of Light in the bottom lane, and even so on as a transition into the team fight phase. You know, it's going to be something that can be thrown on to Ahri Lover playing Ahri, of course. Ahri Lover going through that name change every young boy goes through when they hit 12 or 13.
What was his summoner name before?
He used to be Orange Media.
Okay, that's what I'm... Okay.
So, yeah. We got a few name changes going on around Had a team up and change names at the last minute. So Team Tryhard is now Rich Gang. Believe it or
Not
not.
making it easy. Not making it easy.
You know, whatever goes. So we've got our teams locked in on both sides, and we're going to be approaching that delay timer. Casher's going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll see you guys when we hit the rift here in about 3 minutes.
Summoner's Rift.
Alright guys, we are back and the first match of the night has started. Zark in trouble here during this early first invade. First blood going to be going over to Poseidon there. Just a bad catch out at that moment. I don't think Team Venom was really ready for that much early aggression on the map. Perhaps Zark was looking off toward a different area when Sound of Light rolled up and possibly just got caught looking somewhere else.
First blood's happened. It's got to happen at some point.
At some point. I'm going to go ahead and get this team board organized so we know who's matching up against who where. Alright, everything lined up. Sound of Light going to be headed into lane with a little bit of an advantage. Looked like we got got 4 assists off of that, so that was a team effort there. Everybody going to be enjoying a little bit extra bank. Mob Ghost and Zark going to be headed into that bottom lane with opposite Tan Balls and Milkshake. That one's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and Balls getting his early aggression on pushing this lane up, trying to make it as difficult as possible for Mob Ghost to land any possible skill shots. Milkshake with the Dark Binding there, make a little bit of early damage in on the Mob Ghost. Not much follow-up from Tan Balls at the moment, but lane push staying relatively even down there. Ari Lover going to be opposite Malkathos in this mid lane. Should be an interesting matchup there as well. Both pretty skilled on their respective champions that they're bringing in, so we'll see what they're able to accomplish as well. In the jungle, Aaron Tech going to be rocking that smite opposite Poseidon. Poseidon taking an interesting jungle choice. Donkey, what do you think of Olaf jungle in this current meta?
You know, the thing is that there are so very few junglers that are what are considered like viable right now. Just Raito's been doing a lot of work on the jungle. They're trying to balance it to a point where they like it, but unfortunately a lot of the more creative junglers have suffered. That's everything that I've been reading about and have experienced. That you're seeing that only like J4, Vi, and Lee Sin are sort of like the viable mainstays. We're not seeing either of those. And about Olaf specifically, I think that it's good. I think that he's really strong in the jungle. I think the fact that he's got a kill now is going to sort of do him even more justice. But I think it's really strong against certain comps. He's just able to wreck a lot of CC comps, and he sort of struggles against mobility comps. So. Great
black shield there from Milkshake, but Aaron is coming in. Exhaust being traded out. Great Dark Binding from Milkshake. Keeps Aaron Tech at a distance, but with the flash engaged there, he's going to be able to pick up the kill for his team. Milkshake gets hooked in back. Great hook from Mob Ghost here. A lot of damage going down on him. Poseidon is here with the Retribution. Could have gone a little further in there, possibly scored a kill, but would have been very dangerous with that Thresh crowd control coming back up as it is Aaron Tech gets out. But that really working out well for Venom. Antonin jumping on top of Penguins in the top lane, getting some good damage down there. That matchup's always tricky. The Lissandra versus Jax. There's just a lot that can be traded back and forth in that from both sides.
Yeah, you know, the thing about Jax is that he sort of struggles against anyone who doesn't do... Ooh, that jinx.
Dark falling very low there. Poseidon wanting to get in range for an axe kill, had that ability on cooldown though. That is going to force Sark back to heal up though.
Yeah, like I was saying, Jax sort of struggles against anyone who doesn't do auto attack damage. So Lissandra definitely has the advantage, not in the early levels because the mana costs are going to be too high, but once he's able to build some kind of mana regeneration, he should be doing extremely well versus this Jax. I wouldn't see why he would fall behind. So he's probably going to base and try and get, yeah, second Dorans, working towards the Morellos. Once he picks up a couple of those items, he's going to be great.
He's got the extra AP. He's got the mana regen off the Fairy Charm. That's going to help him out getting back up there and getting involved. Of course, use the teleport to get back to the turret. Not expecting a dragon fight within the next 4 minutes or so, but you never know how these things could possibly work. You're seeing things go down now in the bottom lane. The traps go out. Locks Zark in place. Milkshake with a great binding once again there. Ball's putting a lot of damage down with the Black Shield on top of him. He's not going to fear any retribution. Really great trade-off for Sound of Light. And Penguin's trading off against Antonym here. He's got the burst, and he's going in
he's got ult
for it. Throws the ult down on top of him, gets the kill.
That was a bit of the Jax player just being a little too overconfident. He hit 6 first, so he could be aggressive, but he didn't shop. He was sitting on an empty flask, so basically no items, versus a double Dorn, Amtone, Fairy. I mean, it was just a silly. He overextended. What you want to do in that situation every single time is when you see your lane opponent come back to lane with the teleport, you push it out maybe one more lane if you can safely, and then you recall. There's no reason to stay. That was just a really big misplay by him, and he's going to pay for it with 300 gold for his lane opponent.
Yeah, he was kind of pushing it. He got an early 6 there and went for the trade, but just it was a big risk, very big risk.
They didn't ult either. I think if he ulted, it probably would have helped him out, just the extra MR that he would have received. But you know, what are you gonna do? Too late now. So that's gonna really put him behind. But we'll see if he's able to recover from that.
Poseidon not really getting a whole lot of action in this jungle, actually within distance of the enemy jungler there, and it looks like Aaron is sweeping around to try to make something happen here.
Yeah, I'm really not crazy about this. It looks like they're trying to bait, but this Olaf is out of mana, he's out of health. It's not worth it.
Ward being taken out in that tri-brush there, gonna open things up possibly for Poseidon to have an angle on that bottom lane, but he's not anywhere near to capitalize on that. And really, it looks like Milkshake and Balls are doing fine down here just by themselves. They had a little bit of a rocky start, but we'll take a look at the CS. Oh, great hook from Mob Ghost there. The Black Shield goes on him to prevent the flayback, but looked like Mob Ghost not going to follow up on that one. So yeah, despite having given up a kill, he's keeping up in CS, really pouring in the lead, just about 10 CS now in favor of Balls. And that's kind of what you need to do when you get down on kills really early. Focus on your farming and make the deficit there as best you can. And he's doing that and putting out some aggression on top of it too.
So what I really want to see from this Jax, now that we're looking at the top lane, is I really want to see an early Hex Drinker come out. He's sort of scaling his abilities. I'm not a fan of the way he's scaling his abilities. He's scaling Q first, which you don't really see normally. You normally see your W scale first because it gives you that much more damage, and it's a little bit cheaper on the mana cost. Much more sustained damage. Ooh.
Lots of burst
nice
going down on
here.
the
This
Zark.
might be dead great here.
Got the traps down onto him. The exhaust going to keep him locked into place. Ultimate on the Milkshake though. The exhaust
really nice
goes on the Balls, and Mob Ghost throws down the gate there. Great turnaround. Penguins getting double teamed in this top lane. Antonym going in for the kill. The Lysandra ultimate. And it can be safe for a little bit, but the turret's not going to pick up. So really great all around for Venom engagements in the top and bottom lane. It looked like Balls escaped out of that one just barely, but you know, the fight really went in Venom's favor. They took their time and they were patient with it, and they used all their abilities exactly when they needed to, especially that exhaust coming out when they did. It made all the difference in the world on the Balls. So really great support plays coming through from Mob Ghost.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that it was just a really, really great team effort to be able to turn that around because it was looking really dire for Grace. The damage just wasn't there. I don't know what it was. They weren't able to close it off. Olaf going hard.
Aaron gets knock down a few pegs here, but the support from his teammates going to come through for him. Now that speed boost, getting Poseidon on top of Malkathos is going to have to be careful here, though. Milkshake with a great binding again, but not a lot of follow-up available from Sound of Light. Malkathos has to flash over the wall there. Mike could have gotten out without the flash, but deciding to err on the side of caution and blow that summoner. But that is going to leave Sound of Light open to take this dragon out as Penguins continues to pressure this top lane.
I'm actually interested in this Ari build. I don't know what he's rushing with the needless first item. Typically in this matchup, what you see is Ari rushing some kind of mana regeneration, because the way the lane works out is that you have to be able to push against this Orianna in order to keep her in lane so that you can roam and make plays. And if this Orianna is able to get the Fiends, I think he's going to just be able to push the lane against Ari and force him to farm underneath tower. I'm not really crazy about it in general, but I guess they'll have more damage for all inning. Oh, this gank on mid. Nice job, actually, turning it around 1-for-1. So Orianna turns a bad situation, is able to turn into a halfway decent situation. Nice charm on Ari. Maokai got stuck, trying to blow a flash, but he's dead. And he did indeed actually blow his flash. That's really unfortunate. So that's going to be actually a couple kills for our blue team. They're actually going to tie the game back up. It's actually was 2-3. Now it's going to be 4-4. Getting the gold back in their direction with a 400 gold lead, 500 gold lead. Taking down the tower. That's a big win as well.
Yeah, mid lane turret, so much pressure can be exerted off of that turret going down, and with those avenues open to Sound of Light, they look to really be not only coming back, but establishing a lead at this point. You take a look at the gold total. Milkshake getting hooked here. Oh, this could be big for Zark. Zark gets exhausted here, ends up coming up with a kill, but from behind, Falls putting down some damage. Venom turning onto him, chasing him out of this engagement. And it looks like Ari Lover going to back up off out of that one as well. So,
yeah, that was really silly, just dying for a ward. And then, you know, when you saw the Thresh winding up the hook, that was when you wanted to put on the Black Shield, but he had it up. There's no reason why he couldn't, but unfortunately for him, he did not, so he died for free, basically.
Unfortunate. 10 balls left to try to fend off this turret himself. Antonym getting ganked here. Poseidon jumping in actually gives Antonym an avenue for escape there, taking that alternative gank path. He just pretty much jumped to Poseidon and then walked back to turret.
Yeah, there wasn't much he could do though. He was coming in from the angle, so that was the only way that he was going to be able to enter into the lane. Jax isn't going to blow that, you know, prematurely, unless he's using it on a ward, and it's sort of the same outcome, but I don't know why he stayed.
Penguin was going in for the kill here, picks one up on Antonym, just standing around. Really unfortunate for Venom. But
that was a Bush League play there, Anthony. Bush League play. Oh, that was really dumb. That was literally dumb of me, he says in chat. He knows it.
Penguins taking advantage of that lapse in judgment there, getting some damage onto this inner turret here as well. Sound of Light really picking things up, getting good damage on these structures and focusing objectives across the map. They have the first dragon of the game and the gold lead, so things are really looking up for them at this point. Hook goes out, Balls with a great dodge there. He's sort of been the little engine that could, fending off this bottom turret from this constant assault from Mob Ghost and Zark, especially while Milkshake was off helping the rest of the team out.
So it looks like this Jax is going to rush the Trinity Force, which I think that's a bad buy. I think the item is good on Jax, but I think when you're up against double AP comp, you really need to have Hex Drinker first item. That's sort of like the old rule that you have. When you're playing an AD, a melee AD champion, and you see double AP, the answer is always Hex Drinker. Oh, the hook!
Milkshake
Great hook.
getting hooked here. pops his ultimate, has to flash away, but Zark follows up with the buckshot against the wall for the kill there. Just not coordinated engagements coming through from Sound of Light, and Aaron is here for the tower dive. Twisted advance onto him with the hook and the buckshot. Zark gonna pick that one up. No, Aaron Tech gonna pick that one up. Poseidon is here. Too little, too late, my friend. Trying to get some damage down onto Aaron Tech. Aaron just able to walk calmly away from that one. Great charm from Ari Lover here. Goes in with the full force. Not gonna make it. Actually ends up hitting the command shockwave there.
And lives.
Malkathos making it out of that one with sub 100 health, sub 50 health on that, and with a kill in his pocket off the back of a really great charm. Ari Lover has to be feeling bad about that one.
Yeah, and I really, you know, this sort of boils down to itemization. Speaking of Jax's items, but these Ari items, I know he's got Ari in his name, but I absolutely hate this build. I think that rushing the needless, and then he looked like he was trying to build into Morelos, double Dorn. I mean, it's kind of
all over the place.
Yeah, I think if he would have had one completed item, he would be doing a lot better. But instead, he's got 3 different components plus double Dorans. It's just not... What?
That fight was literally down to 50 hit points. If he would have itemized just a little bit better, it's possible that he would have been able to pull that off.
Morgana's dead.
Getting flayed backward here. The traps coming.
Oh, no. Are they going to flip? Nope.
Penguins and Ari Lover coming in to try to catch him. Teleport coming in from top lane. Mobgo's to be the first to fall. Aaron Tech up next for Team Venom. Handball following up on underneath the turret. Takes out Zark. And that is a 2-0. Penguins, Ari Lover going in with the charm. Lands it on the Malkathos there. Penguins over the wall. Gets the damage down on the Malkathos. Anton is there to follow up with some damage himself. Takes him out. Anton dashing in after Poseidon. Really good jump, really good flash there, but the binding gonna take Aaron down. Lots of follow-up from Sound of Light in that fight, and Venom actually ending up picking up 1 off the retreat, but that just completely otherwise went Sound of Light's way. They're going for Dragon number 2, and the world is just looking open to them right now in this Game 1 of our Best of 3 series.
This is still anybody's game. I mean, it's still really close. Obviously, you know, that fight wasn't so good for red team. They sort of got caught a little bit, but they were able to peel. They were able to do what they wanted to do. They're still ahead in gold, and a lot of the money. Oh no, they're not ahead in gold. Oh wow, I didn't even see that swing. But regardless, a lot of the money is sitting on this whole lot. He's got 4 kills.
Poseidon getting hooked in here. He's going to give up that bounty gold. Zark actually getting the picture on out of the fight. So plenty safe that leaves balls between the support and the incoming jungler. Aaron Tech on the milkshake. Picks up the kill there. Balls by himself. Gets it back. It's going to be another kill going over. Mobgo's going to pick that one up for Venom. And Sound of Light need to stop making those kind of mistakes because Venom is there to capitalize. They are not a team to be pushed over, and despite the fact that Sound of Light has really gotten in here, they cannot afford to be making those mistakes and just getting outplayed like that. I think that's really good news for Venom. Take a look at that gold lead. It's only down to 1,000 now for Sound of Light. And Venom, of course, staying relatively even in kills and turrets.
Yeah, that was just another poor decision that we're seeing in this game. This time it was made by Sound of Light. They just got caught. They had a great team fight, and they took the dragon, and then they decided that they were going to try and take a tower on top of it. And that's another mistake. When you play a lot of the game, especially in solo queue, you realize that you can only really take one objective at this timer. Before 20 minutes, you have to make a decision. Are we going to take dragon, or are we going to take tower? We really can't do both. And they got a little greedy, and they tried to squeeze in a tower, and they ended up paying for it. And they paid dearly. 3-1 kills, and especially to get one of those kills or all those kills when on Graves, that's significant. That's going to be a huge boost of money for him because he was sort of phasing out of this game. Graves is not known to be such a great late game carry, so the fact that now he's got some great kills. Oh, Sandra might be in trouble here.
Antonym jumping onto Penguins, gets locked down there, though. Going to decide to go back and farm things up for himself, but Penguins got to be careful. The Jack's still capable, plenty capable of putting out some great damage underneath his stun. So he's going to have to play around that with his abilities. Looks like mid lane turret going to open up the map for Venom here. That rocket from the bottom lane, not going to take anything out, but Sound of Light pick up a turret for their efforts as well.
Yeah, this 4-man push is going to be effective, I think. There's absolutely nothing to respond to this, and they're just going to trade tower for tower. But we have 4 champions, and they also have Jinx, and Jinx is known as like the tower killer. So if they keep racing this, they're going to be in real trouble. Maybe Maokai is going to be able to dissuade them.
Aaron Tech coming in here trying to get Sound of Light off this turret, but Tanballs is just putting so much damage down on the side. Milkshake using Exhaust now to get Zark off of this turret, and they do actually end up getting the disengage. Both sides do. So looks like they're going to be heading now toward each other. Right now Sound of Light is cutting a path toward the fleeing 3 members. They spot them out with the blue trinket there. Malkathos ends up taking the lantern there, going to keep them safe. Poseidon is running in as fast as he can. Doesn't get the slowdown with his axe though, and ended up burning his ultimate on that as well.
Big team fight coming.
Getting hooked in here, not a good spot for him to be in. Mobgo's falling very low in the middle of the fight. Poseidon going to pick that one up. Ari Lover chunking through the back line, takes out Zark. Antonin is on top of Balls with the rocket, going to pick that up for Sound of Light. Aaron Tech is in trouble by himself, and the double kill going over to Tanballs. A 5-for-2 exchange, exactly what Sound of Light needed. They get back up on top in gold, and they're going to be rewarded with another turret for their efforts there.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was just a product of not being able to get anything on the Jinx. Jinx was sitting in the back line, able to be rocket formed the entire time, just wailing on people. And there was just no priority from Venom, from either the Jax, the Maokai, or the Orianna to try and put a stop to this Jinx, and that's what happens late game Jinx. And they were able to pick up a couple kills themselves, but definitely a lost team fight. So this game is crazy. I really don't know who's winning, or I don't know anything. I'm just watching this and just gonna find out what happens, I guess. This game's crazy.
Yeah, these two teams are evenly matched as far as seeds go. You take a look at the tournament bracket, and Sound of Light's number 4 on the ladder, Venom's number 5. So that's as close as it gets in this tournament when it comes to seeding. So I'm not surprised to see this back and forth happening between both teams.
It's going to be very interesting. Yeah, I really have no idea who's ahead, so to speak. I think both these comps have decent late game, so I don't think that one team is going to necessarily outscale the other team. So this is going to be really interesting. We see them; they're going to try and prep this dragon. I don't think that does this dragon have any meaning for any team, I guess? Oh yeah, well, I guess Venom doesn't have a dragon yet. So.
Venom does not have a dragon yet. They really need to pick one up. On the other hand, Ari Lover getting caught out here, has to pop the Zanya, but he's in the middle of, actually uses the Spirit Rush to get out. He's going to make it. Ari Lover with the dash. I don't believe that he just got out of that alive. He was surrounded by 4 members of Venom.
That's hard to watch. They used so many abilities on him while he was Zonya'd, and then Graves flashed for him afterward. First dragon goes over to Venom, but yeah, that was just
unfortunate for Venom. Ugly. They do get a dragon out of this, and they're actually trying to team fight off this. Poseidon is in the back line, looking for the follow-up from his team. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there, but Antonym actually going to pick that one up. Balls throwing rockets in on the 5-man squad, but they are very tough, very strong group of 5 members, and wisely Sound of Light back up out of that one, and Venom got everything they needed out of that dragon fight, the pre-dragon fight, the post-dragon fight. They did exactly what they needed to do, and they pick up the first dragon of the game. That was huge for them. Had they not, boom, would have been dragon number 3 for Sound of Light, and would have been just that much further down the path of destruction.
Yeah, Sound of Light decided to go into that dragon pit without having Ari, and I think that was the big mistake. He didn't have their AP damage dealer, so he sort of just lost that fight. And Unfortunately for Olaf, it was a bit too late, but luckily he didn't burn any summoners. So he still got Ghost. He's going to have his ultimate soon. And this catch now on Jax.
Antonym getting engaged on by Ari Lover here. Milkshake bringing up the backside to cut him off. And that's going to be a tower down, but unfortunately, Antonym gets his life for that one.
Yeah, and with no wards, that was a pretty easy gank for them. This Jax needs to be able to buy wards for himself if he's going to go up in that lane, but unfortunately he's sitting on 6 full item slots, so maybe it's time to sell fast so that that doesn't happen again, or pick up that new trinket upgrade. Does he have that?
And look at this, Sound of Light putting the sweepers down and getting the wards in. It almost looks like they're crazy enough to try for Baron right now.
Oh, I think they're looking for that pick in the jungle, so we're going to see a fight going on.
Lissandra in the top lane. A great flash engage from Ari Lover. Gonna take one for himself. Hosta's on you there. Malkathos, the target of Sound of Light. They turn onto Zar, firing away at this enemy carry opponent. Aaron Tech going to be the next target here, and that Sound of Light get everything they need out of that fight. A 4-for-0 exchange, and they are on to this inhibitor turret. It is all down to Antonym to stop this engagement, and wisely decides to back up out of that with a full 5-man squad. Not much you can do. Sound of Light get an inhibitor for their efforts here.
So we just saw Sound of Light have a team fight with no Ari, and now we see Venom in a team fight with no Jax. I mean, these teams really need to just step it up. If this is going to be for the championship, they really need to start playing like they want it. I mean, going into fights 4v5 is not smart, and we just saw the penalty for that being lose your inhibitor. So now they're thinking about possibly doing a Baron, or maybe Venom could be coming in to do a retaliation Baron. But whatever they need to do quick, because this game is going to start tilting in one direction.
Venom has the opportunity to go for a Baron here. I think Penguins knows that. I think that's why he's sticking around and just being a bit of a nuisance. But needs the help from Milkshake to get up out of this one. Antonym joining the fight here, and they've successfully pushed Sound of Light off of this Baron area. Don't see the pink ward. No, Antonym saw it. It's going back for it, and they're going to be setting up for this Baron. They actually have the numbers advantage. Poseidon just recalled, and the blue trinket's going to spot him out. Looks like they're sitting a 3-man
We need to get off this.
To engage here. It's going to be a 3 versus 5, but Baron counts as 1. Ari Lover ends up getting hooked into the middle of the fight. Has to pop the Tanya. No way he's making it out. That time, Zark makes sure that Mobghost is onto the back line. Handballs and Penguins having to jump out. Mobghost throws the hook, not quite able to connect. Unfortunate for Team Venom. They could have done a lot with that hook there. Malkathos lagging behind a little bit. Ends up getting poked out from behind. Ultimate going to slow down all but Poseidon here, and that actually forces the flash away from Mobghost. So a really good counter engage from Sound of Light here. Unfortunate they ended up losing their mid lane, but all the while those minions were pushing away, creating map pressure up in that top lane, and looks like Baron going to be open for them now.
I mean, this game is just about as crazy as it can possibly be. These fights are so fractured. This does look like it's going to be a Baron for Sound of Light. Maokai is making his way over, but looks like Milkshake's on his way to stop him.
Milkshake actually whiffs the Dark Binding there. Aaron wants to get in to contest with the smite, but with the body blocking, not going to allow him up in there. Just unfortunate for Venom. Probably should have just conceded that one over. That empowered recall going to take Sound of Light back to base, and they are heading into this next fight with the gold advantage, 9,000 in their favor. The momentum of the game going in their favor as well. Venom still in this, but has an uphill battle ahead of them at this point.
Anyone can win. We've seen it before, time and time again. Teams come back. What Venom needs to do in order to win this game, though, is to just keep their lanes pushed out a little bit. Try not to overextend. And try and wait out for this inhibitor to come back and wait out for the Baron buff to be over.
Baron ticking away on Sound of Light, and they are scouting the map, getting wards down, trying to plan their next angle of attack here. And I think it's going to come from this right side of the jungle. Certainly on top of this blue buff control here. That's going to be big for Ari Lover. Actually, nope, Penguins ends up picking that one up. So it looks like Dragon's going to come back up, and Sound of Light going to focus on taking that objective. Really nothing that Venom can do about it at this point. They fortunately did set Sound of Light back by taking the last Dragon out, so this won't be Dragon number 5.
Yeah, they need to get out of this jungle, though. Venom needs to stick to the plan where they wait for this Baron to be up, wait for their inhibitor to come up. Jax is pushing super hard. He needs to get out as well, because it's very difficult to take a tower when you have super minions in that wave, because your minion wave just gets obliterated. But if it's any consolation, you push the lane pretty hard, so it's going to be a while before these minions show up into this wave. Teleport coming in from Jax from behind. They could be looking to make a fight here.
Antonym circling back around behind members of Sound of Light. Auri Lover going in full ham onto Makos, gets the charm and the Spirit Rush down on him. Everything is being flown. Antonym in the middle of the fight. Makos gets taken out. Balls with the Get Excited, picking up the double. Almost looked like a triple there. And this is surely going to be Sound of Light taking game 1.
Hanson, they didn't listen to the DP tips for success, man. They forced it. Sound of Light still had Baron on them. Just an ill-advised team fight that they tried to force, and they ended up paying for game 1.
Still got 2 games left to try to redeem themselves, but as it stands, Sound of Light picking up game 1. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get set up for the next one, and we'll be back with y'all shortly. All right, we're kicking off Champion Select for Game 2 of Venom versus Sound of Light, number 4th seed and number 5th seed. Sound of Light coming in at number 4 spot. It should be an interesting matchup. Sound of Light taking Game 1 out of the hands of Venom, transitioning over to the red side this time around, as we got 40,000 RP on the line in this tournament. Places 1 through 4 getting prizes, and it is all down to this game for Venom. Hi guys, I'm your host Anson, and with me, my co-host, Donkey's Puncher. We are very happy to be bringing you this second game of the best of 3 match in our quarterfinals. We have our other teams playing their best of 3s as we speak. So as we get those results, they're going to be coming in over the wire. We will make sure to share those results with everybody watching at home, let you know how the teams are doing. At the moment, we currently have Victoria's Secret and Poro Stars and the new Exalt plus Swell Team 6 handling their matches. Rebel Force did end up disqualifying to Team Tryhard in the first round, so we definitely have a winner in that bracket, but still up in the air on the other games. Seeing bands come out for both teams. Venom going to be taking out Lysandra Swain and Kalista. Looks like Sound of Light going to be taking out that Maokai along with Aurelia and Scion. So not a big surprise. Maokai came through pretty strong for Venom last game. Wasn't able to tip the balance, but all around good band. I think Aurelia and Kalista, especially Swain, I think those are pretty much targeted picks as well. But Antonym going to pick up the Vi for his team. That is a huge grab.
Yeah, Vi's, as we said before, one of those top tier junglers right now. Really strong. So we're going to have to see what jungler Venom decides to pick up. But there's a lot of good ones on the board. We were not seeing any jungle bans this game. So really anyone besides the Maokai, which they banned themselves. I guess they were trying to deny it for top lane or for jungle. So we'll have to see how it breaks out. But the Syndra pick is actually interesting. I really like Syndra. She used to be like one of the best first picks you can make for the mid lane because she had no bad matchups. She at least went even in every lane that she played. So we'll have to see who she's up against this game, but I'm really interested in that. Also, the Vlad pickup is very interesting.
Hey, you know, Syndra got a little love last patch. Increased that hitbox width on the stun. So the reports are she's feeling a little less clunky these days.
Yeah, I love Syndra. I play her every chance I can in rank before the nerfs, so I'm very interested to see what she's like in this patch because the prior patches she felt kind of, like you said, clunky. So we'll have to see. But yeah, very interesting with the Vlad pickup. It looks like it's going to be Vlad versus Gnar. Gnar, one of those champions that just got nerfed as well. So
I would be very surprised to see Poseidon lock in that Amumu. I don't think that is going to go very well for his team at all if they do decide to make that choice.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a Mumu.
Gonna stick with it. Mumu's problem is with jungle bullying, and that has only ramped up with the recent changes made to the jungle. And Antonym really has a good early game opportunity here if he gets on top of Poseidon and disrupts at one of his buffs, disrupts at any of the camps, could possibly pick up a kill as well. There's just a lot of options open to Antonym, and really for the Amumu player on Sound of Light, not really seeing a whole lot coming through for them on that.
I see what they're trying to do with their comp, though. They're trying to set up a really strong teamfight comp. For the top lane, oh no, we have the top lane there. Yeah, so Sivir as AD carry is like the perfect pick for this comp. It's going to allow their team to sort of like jump into these fights. They're going to open up with the Bandit Shots, get a Mumu ultimate, get a Nara ultimate. If he can combo this right, if he can have really good timings and play around Mega Nara, they're going to do extremely well. They have a really decent comp in terms of just raw damage, but it's really the crowd control that's going to be bringing it. Whereas we see Blue Team sort of like a very fractured poke comp. Whenever you see Caitlyn and Jace,
that's what you want to think, poke comp. But then you take a look at Vi.
Vi is terrible into the poke comp, and so is Vlad. Vlad is just a bad champion to pick in poke comp. He excels in a team fight comp. He excels in a heavy crowd control comp. So I'm really not sure what their comp is going to be doing. It seems like they just picked some champions that they felt comfortable with. But it's going to be interesting. But everything's on the line, so I guess go with your comfort picks. Go with what you think is going to work for you individually. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a matchup of comp versus comfort picks, and we'll have to see who wins.
Well, those Summoner Hiders going to come off. Casters are going to be heading into the 3-minute delay, and we will get back with you guys. Sound of Light so far up one game in this series. Venom got a lot to pull back from. We'll see how they handle it once we come back for the break.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
All right, we are getting started. Sound of Light on the red side, Venom on the blue side. Everything on the line for Venom at this point. If they lose out here, they will be out of the tournament, unable to claim a prize. And Sound of Light, with a victory, will secure themselves at the very least a 4th place spot. Winner of this match goes on to face the winner of the Victoria's Secret versus Poro Stars game.
So who are your picks here, Anson? Who do you like?
Ooh, this is that is a difficult question to answer. You know, Venom's always been kind of a team that lacks communication. We saw it when Olaf engaged in that Dragon Pit area earlier and just went man mode toward the back line with his ultimate completely by himself. And you see those issues crop up with Venom. They're not as well of a practice team as Sound of Light are. Sound of Light have faced a few problems. They performed well in some matchups, but overall end up losing to the heavy hitters. So I'm not surprised to see, and you have seen through last game, a few of those issues come up for them. Looks like actually Malkathos going to be in the mid lane as Vladimir. So that's going to leave Antonym up top with Jace. But yeah, you know, Venom have a team that's capable of winning. They have some good individual talent, just not as well practiced. And I got to give the series to Sound of Light, just based off their communication and teamwork ability. But you know, Venom's certainly not out of it just yet. Anthony going in hard on the Penguins here, forces him back to turret, eats a tower shot on the way out. That's going to negate a lot of his trade win that he had there.
Yeah, that was...
with the flay backward onto Zark here. Gets the auto attacks onto him. Really great damage coming from Milkshake on that.
It was good capitalization of the level 2. They hit 2 faster, so they went into the engage. Unfortunately, Thresh in a minion, or else I think that would have probably been first blood. And in the top lane, we saw the exact same thing. Jace hit level 2 sooner, but unfortunately for him, he decided to take a tower hit.
Coming in, Poseidon with the bandage toss is going to get the lockdown here. This could be first blood. Flash forced away. Antonym's going to walk back to turret safely. Overall successful game though for Sound of Light with that Amumu. Bringing him in early, sub 4-minute gank in that top lane. I don't think that Antonym was expecting that.
No, clearly not. And he had his trinket ward up, I think. It was available to him. So I think that was just a little bit of a misplay not picking it. Amumu, no!
And that's why he didn't expect it. Amumu's got problems.
I think that the Amumu pick is fine in terms of the general team comp, but
as far as the jungler goes, there's not that many junglers that can perform well against the jungle. Great hook from Zark, goes in on it, man mode, eats some turret shots here, and an auto attack from Zark, but ends up getting out of that one. Zark is one boomerang blade away from death here. If Tanballs lands a good one, that's it. Game over for him.
Yeah, that was a really good hook, and actually it was a really good counter engage by the Caitlyn, recognizing that Thresh was going to take a tower hit. It was going to get pretty low. It was a good heal from them. Just generally well played from both teams, both bot lanes.
Tanball's actually using his spell shield there. And Aaron going in, the bubble hits balls. They're focusing Milkshake though, actually, and the first blood ends up going over to Tanballs. He's looking to pick up 2 here, flashes after another one. Eats a turret shot, not going to get it with the boomerang blade, but he's here to return damage onto Aaron Tech. Aaron has to be careful. He whiffs the Q here. This is big. He needs to get out. He cannot put up with the damage in crowd control. Too little, too late on the flash there. Tanballs picks that one up. Boomerang blade. Just overall misplay from Aaron Tech. Wasn't strong enough to deal with that 2v1 situation. Should have known a little sooner. Got out a little sooner.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, and that's really bad news for bot lane because Caitlyn's not really much of a bruiser. She sort of likes to poke a little bit, but now that Sivir is sitting on this BF sword, he's not going to be able to poke very well. Sivir's just going to basically look to all in, going to hit 6. They're just going to try and rush down this Caitlyn, and that's going to be bad news bears. So we'll have to see how they adapt from it.
You know, that's it's really unfortunate. Anytime you're an AD carry, that's pretty much your nightmare scenario, is going back, having to buy a second Doran's Blade while your opponent picks up a BF sword. Just not good news at all. Aaron Tech finding Poseidon here, gets a short charge on the Q though. That did allow him to land the hit, but he could have gone a little bit further with a little bit longer of a charge. Antonym putting some good damage down on the Penguins, forcing him to back up out of this. He is approaching Mega Gnar form soon. Milkshake gets bubbled here. Peacemaker going to tag him, but at this point Zark not dealing very much damage at all. Milkshake can just walk it off. And Malkathos holding up well against Ari Lover in this mid lane. He's got himself a little bit of a CS advantage. Hasn't given over any kills, despite there being a gank in the mid lane. So working out pretty decent for him.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, I think, the changes to Syndra, where they made it that her Q damage was a lot weaker pre-9. So I think that once Syndra is able to hit 9, ooh, if it lives that long.
Malkathos going in hard, forces the flash away, and ends up negating a lot of the ignite damage, so he's going to be able to stick around in that lane if he so chooses. Meanwhile, Ari Lover looked like he was left with about 10 health. Malkathos gets hooked here. Bad spot to get hooked in. Tanball's going in, putting down lots of damage. Zark trying to retaliate here. Gotta be careful. Milkshake is wanting to land another hook or a flay in order to get these two finished off down here.
Yeah, I think what they need to do in bot lane is just try and farm safely. They're not going to win any engages. Ooh, nice Gnar ultimate.
Antonym ends up eating a huge chunk of damage from Penguins there. Got a really good long-range ultimate off. He's using that ultimate to provide some harass, basically, not as a full-on engage tool.
That's sort of what you want to do when you have Megadar and you're level 6. You're not going to get a really good opportunity to use it on a whole team count. But this fight here in the jungle, we're seeing...
Look at this. Poseidon is on to Aaron. Aaron's not landing auto attacks here. He needs to get out.
Yeah, unfortunately, he did a little bit of auto canceling. We're going to see Vi explode.
Malkathos has to get up out of this when he's the next one to fall. Just not going Team Venom's way. That was... I'm not sure what Aaron Tech was doing there. He wasn't getting auto attacks off, and he was consistently walking toward Amumu and his area of effect damage. So that just... it may have actually been a disconnect or some kind of a lag error for him, because he was just he wasn't landing anything that fight, and he even actually ended up missing his escape cue to get up over the wall.
I think it was the shock. I think it was the surprise factor of Amumu coming over, but he unfortunately was canceling a lot of his auto attacks and didn't get off his abilities. So
Aaron is not doing what a Vi should do against an Amumu. Early game, you have the advantage in the jungle. You can basically walk up in the jungle anytime you want and just mess with the guy. And instead, Poseidon is going up into his jungle, messing with him before 10 minutes as well. He doesn't have any kills. He's just sitting on a jungle item, and he's completely dictating the pace of the jungle against an opponent that, at least on paper, should be superior to him. Great bandage toss. Bernard coming in with the ultimate. Penguins getting some great damage down here.
That is the chain CC.
Stand a chance. Narcos eating a lot of damage here. Did get the Hemoplate down, but Aaron's not going to be able to win out this 2v2 situation. That's another 2 going over to Sound of Light. This bottom lane is on fire. Milkshake using the ultimate here. Tanballs actually uses the Spell Shield to negate Mob Ghost's ultimate here. Getting a lot of good damage down, but Zark is retaliating fairly well.
That was 3v2. Oh, why didn't you... Oh, he didn't have ult. Why doesn't he have ult? Caitlyn didn't scale ultimate at 6. What ability does she have? He accidentally put 2 ability points into net.
No.
He did not scale his ultimate. That was a free kill. There was no spell shield, and I don't think Thresh could have gone there in time to block it, so... That misplay just cost him a kill, and now this game, I would hazard to say, is pretty over. This Sivir should in no way get this advantage on this Caitlyn.
Are just falling apart at this stage. Nothing they're doing is helping them get back on track. A 5,000 gold lead at 11 minutes into the game.
Yeah, this game is all over but the crying. So we already discussed in the pregame comp that, or in the pregame lobby, that the comp coming from Sound of Light is just far superior. So these individual players are going to have to make plays in order to win this game, and unfortunately for them, they have not been able to do that. This CC comp is just wrecking them in the lane before we even get to this teamfight stage. But we got a sneak peek of it in top lane, where we saw Amumu and Gnar basically 2v3. They keep... Oh, and Caitlyn.
Bad spot for Zark to be in. Getting basically just bullied around by Poseidon. Actually uses the ultimate there. Aaron coming in with the lockdown. Going to provide some breathing room for Zark, but Balls is bringing up the backside of Poseidon as well.
Oh no,
failed Q there once again, and I just have to wonder if Aaron picked up Vi because Vi is god tier jungle right now, and may not have had the technical mastery of that champion in order to perform at that level.
Well,
Antonym going in hard on to Poseidon here. It's the first kill of the game for Venom. Balls makes his way out. That wave was huge, but Ari Lover is here. Putting up the rear and late cleanup. Gets a kill, gets a second kill. Going after a third target now. Antonym getting chased down by Paul. Paul's got to be careful here.
That was ill-advised. Syndra should have probably came over to help. But
Definitely would like to see the Syndra go in against Antonym. Right now, Ari Lover's got no mana. He needs to get back. And Antonym closes the gap with the flash there. Going to be another kill going over to Venom, and they look to be healing their wounds. They're not back in this yet, though.
At what cost, though? I mean, Nara was able to take top tower. Looks like he was able to put a little bit of work on this secondary tower. And now, this Nara's going to have the teleport advantage for the next minute or so over the Jace. So if something breaks out, we're going to see the exact reverse. And that's what you definitely don't want to see. You do not want to see a 5v4 in the favor of Sound of Light, because that's going to go entirely one-sided.
Sound of Light doing exactly what they need to do with their lead, pressuring objectives. Poseidon gets over the wall with the red steal here.
Oh.
Aaron fails with the Q. Just bad news bears.
I don't know if red buff was necessarily worth his flash, but
it
he
looked
decided
cool
to make that. So yeah, it looked cool. Highlight reel.
Highlight reel was.
So ooh.
Milkshake going in onto Aaron Tech, gets the hook, follows it up. Doesn't even need the flay to secure that kill. Aaron super low.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Bobgo's getting chased down in the jungle here. Uses the ultimate to disengage, but Milkshake is on point with the hook. Poseidon's going to pick that one up and take a look. Poseidon 2-2-6 so far this game. And really Tan Balls coming through for his team in carry mode, 6-1. Got a lot of gold onto that champion in particular. So we'll see how Venom deal with that. If they can make Tan Balls a non-factor in these fights, things might be even. Malkathos just getting pushed around. Penguins takes so many turret shots there, forces the pool out. Aaron Tech trying to come in, be hero here, but he just gets flayed backward, and Penguins is there to pick that one up easy.
I feel terrible for this Vi. I feel like this is like the type of game that when this game is over, you make yourself like a real stiff drink of something, and you just go in your lazy boy, and you're just, oh, another catch, and you're just done. And the catch on Jace, they're going for it.
Poseidon using the ultimate there with the follow-up from Ari Lover. Puts a lot of burst onto Antonym. That's a 3-for-0 exchange. Turret for Sound of Light, and they are just shrugging off that tiny step forward that Venom took with the last series of fights and just going complete man mode on these turrets. They see the win in their sight. There's blood in the water, and they are not going to let Venom get away from this.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Team Venom, there isn't the amount of farm that you need on Vlad to be relevant. This Vi is going to get one shot in anything that she tries to do. Caitlyn is trying to work towards her first item. This is just all bad news bears. So it's not looking very good for Team Venom. I don't know what they can do. I think if they could possibly build some kind of time machine and freeze this game for 20, maybe 30 minutes, they could get back in this, but I don't see that happening. It looks like Sound of Light is being more aggressive with their warding. They're looking for more picks. They're looking for the blue side of the map this time, so we'll have to see. Ooh, nice.
Great ult from Penguins there. Getting Antonym against the wall. Actually comes out of Meganar mode, unfortunately, though. Not going to be able to follow that one up. Actually, I did end up following up off the screen, and Tan Balls going on a spree here. Picks up one in that engagement. So really good moves across the board from Sound of Light. They're doing exactly what a team in the lead needs to do. They're keeping their foot on the gas and abusing the fact that they've got a full tank. And they're going to be pushing down, I'm suspecting, this mid lane with their next engagement. And really trying to pull something off out of that. Of course, we don't have Baron as an objective quite yet. but we will have that coming up very soon, and Sound of Light looking to be in a good position to continue dictating the pace of this game.
Yeah, this game is looking real murky for Venom. They have this sort of like pokey, engaged team, but they can't do
Great
anything.
bandage toss from Poseidon, locks down 2 members of Venom. Aaron Tech in the middle of the fight with no avenue of escape, ends up going down there. The Lantern left behind from Milkshake, not going to pick anybody up off that. Whole team's here. They're on to this mid lane turret. Zark has no mana. He is out of position. Ends up getting stunned from Ari Lover and taken out. Penguins is on top of it. This could be the game right here. Mob goes down. The death timers are still low enough that Venom can get back into this fight. Penguins are doing a lot of turret damage, and this inhibitor still hasn't gone down. Sound of Light getting distracted here. Poke down from a distance. And they are going to end up picking up this inhibitor, though. It's booked once again. Napathos wants to go in, try to make something happen here, but Sound of Light's front line just a little bit too beefy for him to want to take that risk. The inhibitor has not gone down. Sound of Light getting desperate for it at this point. They're very low. Ace in the hole comes across, doesn't do anything. Aaron Tech picks out a target, falls singled out here, but turns the damage onto him. Ari Lover falling very low here. Napathos is going to pick that one up. Penguins getting in the middle of things once again, and the 3-man squad is going to take out this inhibitor. A little bit disjointed of an effort from Sound of Light here, but they were so far ahead that they could afford it, and they got the inhibitor for their trouble.
Yeah, when you're this far ahead, you can do no wrong. I mean, Nara was able to get 2 different Mega Naras in that fight. Sivir was able to lifesteal herself back up, and if you can't pop this Sivir, you're gonna lose these fights, because mid-game Sivir is just a beast in terms of the damage that she can output in bursts.
And I gotta give it to Aaron Tech. He did what he could in that fight, and was able to almost get balls down to 0. But yeah, the surrender vote comes out from Venom, and they are done for Season 1. That's going to be 2-0. Sound of Light moves on to the second round.
Very interesting.
So,
congratulations to them, I guess.
For yours truly here. Kind of easy to pick the winner after Game 1. I don't know. Doesn't always work like that, but
Game 1 was close. I was still undecided, because you saw that there were some small problems within their team in terms of when they wanted to go, but their comp was decent. They seemed to be able to match blow for blow in Game 1. I think the problem basically came down to champion select. Their picks were bad. They picked things individually that maybe they wanted to play or they felt were strong, but their overall comp had no juice. But ultimately, that wasn't even why they lost the game. They lost the game just in laning phase, and unfortunately, that gank bot was able to sort of snowball into just a deciding win. Whenever Sivir gets that far ahead, or any bot lane gets that far ahead, they're just able to exert their will. They don't have to even lane anymore. They can sort of force objectives, because there's no better champion at taking objectives than the AD carry. And so that was just a product of that early game snowball.
And it looks like Sound of Light or it looks like New Exalt and ST6 are still in Game 1, and the reports coming out are that the game is very close. So we could still see quite a bit of action coming out from that matchup. We're going to get into it as soon as possible. Stick tight with us. All right, it looks like we are fired up and ready to go. T&E on the blue side. ST6 on the red side. And we are at minute 60 of this game. This has turned out to be a real barn burner. Both sides just are at the pinnacle of their power levels. Still, both Nexus turrets standing for ST6, and I'm not sure what to expect out of this game. T&E have the Baron, have one inhibitor down. They look to be in control, but anything could happen.
Super close game. Yeah, 98k to 91k. That's insane.
Does anybody on the board not have full build at this point? It doesn't look like it.
No. I guess Thresh needs to upgrade his sight stun, but that's the only thing I can see. What a crazy game.
T&E going to make an attempt on this turret. Rigel gets in very close and dodges the hook. Cool Breeze throwing that one out, nearly lands it. T&E going to back up off of this one, but of course the super minion still chucking away at the turret. Gotta love that range on that super minion.
Yeah. Super minion, huge range. And actually, Nunu has the Panda command, so I'd be real interested to see how that works out.
It looked like Overdose Panda popped his ultimate there. I'm not sure if he was clearing off minions outside the screen. Probably what he was doing. But that ultimate will not be available if the result decide to go in on this turret. Swole Team 6 have got to be careful here. They can't afford to lose any more objectives.
Looks like we're going to see this tower go down.
The Nocturne ultimate. Simple Baggins going in onto Getty. Decides to back up out of that one. Engage gets blown here, and Dev gets a great ultimate duration on. Dignified is in the middle of the fight here, but he's gonna go down. The Guardian Agent gonna keep him alive enough to get back into it. Uses the hop, gets actually to the Nexus fountain here, and Simple Baggins taking turret damage. T&E want to grab this turret, but they don't have the resources to do it. They're going to settle for an inhibitor, but ST6 is going to try to make them pay for that as well. The death timers are so long. If T&E end up falling in this engagement, it could be pain for them. ST6 pick up another one. Enemy is on the chopping block here. Flashes in, takes out Overdose Panda. That pops his Guardian Angel. Uber is not going to be able to hook. Gingerfied tries to get out of that. Doesn't make it, and that's another Nexus turret going down. Deb is back and uses the snowball to get one off. Simple Baggins still remaining healthy, still pumping out plenty of damage. Wilson Jones is by himself. Pops Sonya's hourglass here. Deb making him pay. Sends him back to base. 4 dead on New Exalt. 3 dead on ST6. That was out of control.
But they have no more Nexus towers. There's no more Nexus turrets to protect the Nexus. So they can be a victim of a backdoor. And with Nirelia with TP, with Nocturne, we definitely have the champions. Sivir ultimate, there's a lot of ways that they can sort of circumvent ST6 and get around them. So they're going to have to play defensive until they can get those inhibitors up.
Even then, when they get their inhibitors up, there could be just... with the teleports and the mobility options available to T&E, this is going to be very bad. ST6 need to ace them at their Nexus in order to be able to do anything in this game at this point.
We'll have to see how it works out here.
Of course, a good Baron fight could prove to be the equalizer here, but we've seen time and time again in this league and in pro play, double Nexus turrets are down. Assaulting team goes for Baron, ends up getting disrupted by what looks like a good fight from the defending team, and then you see 1-2 members of the assaulting team just teleport in or just walk straight up to the Nexus and win the game.
I mean, the outlook does not look good for our red team, so we'll have to see sort of how this transpires, but I imagine that it's basically going to come down to New Exalt just slowly pushing themselves into the base and then popping the Sivir ultimate, trying to get a good pick or two, and then forcing red team just to sort of get out of the fight and give up the Nexus. I really don't see how they can possibly win this. It looks like they're actually going to try and look for a pick, or maybe just Zerg.
They might try the Zerg rush.
Oh no, they want dragon number 4.
It's only going to be their 4th dragon for the game, so that's good news. A little bit of good news. Kind of like you end up losing your foot in the war. Well, the good news is you can't get a foot infection. So, yeah, not looking good for ST6. They're trying to reposition themselves while pushing out these lanes in a defensive mode inside their own base. Looks like TNE are going to try for the trifecta here on the inhibitors.
We'll have to see. I mean, that's the smart play. That's sort of the safer play. Oh, Morgana taking a lot of free damage. Nice harass.
Able to get this turret down. Harass coming back from ST6 as they do it, though, but that is going to be inhibitor number 3. And you've got to think it's now or never for ST6. With that 3rd inhibitor down, are TNE going to expose themselves like they just did right there again? I don't think so. I think that's a missed opportunity from ST6. And the next time TNE show up, it's going to be full force in their base with those super minions. So ST6 know this. They're going in hard. Dev gets a great ultimate channel off there. Not doing a whole lot of damage, though. Yeti by himself, and he's going to go down. Dev trying to pick one up here on the enemy. Gets it. Going to go down himself as well. Q missing the Dark Binding there, but still ends up picking that one up. Overdose Panda coming out of Zonya's and just gets cleaned up. And this is game 1 going over to the new Exalt.
Really good game, though. It seemed like it was really close. 67-minute game. Unfortunately, not able to pull through, but
who knows where it could go
close
in the next few games. There's certainly a lot of opportunity for it to swing either way, and I think we just saw a match from 2 teams that were very equally matched, and I can't wait to see what happens in game 2. Alright guys, we're going to leave you all with a short break as we get set up for game number 2 between New Exalt and ST6. We'll see you guys back shortly.